Hey, welcome to this segment on how to create a win-win situation. This got placed on my heart a while ago, and then I think about it, and then I thought, it'd be kind of fun to go on the show and create something just a little different. So what I did is I thought about like the pundit square, where you have client and you have advisor. And I started to think about, hey, what if you filled out that pundit square into win-loss for each, and what would that look like? What are stories from my experiences that might be helpful for the viewers? As how this can be done and what quadrant you could end up in. And then we'll finish with the one that you want to be in. So we're going to start with the first one. And so this is where the advisor loses and the client loses. Okay, so this is the loss-loss quadrant of the pundit square. This is the one that you want to avoid. What have I seen in these situations? This is where you have an advisor potentially that is, maybe no else better way to say it than morally bankrupt. Okay, what happens is they might fall victim to conflict of interest, where they're putting their best interest in front of the client's best interest. And if there's an advisor that is doing that, then they lost. Okay, and then from the client standpoint, what happens is they might get sold something, or they might get an outcome that is really bad for them. Okay, maybe even defrauded, or kind of those worst nightmare kind of situations. So that's a quadrant that you want to avoid with all possibility. Okay, the next one is where the advisor might quote win, but the client loses. Okay, so this is right below that. This is another quadrant that you're going to want to stay clear of. This is where there's advisors out there that they have quotas that they have to fill. They get a ton of pressure every single month to sell stuff, right? Maybe they have high fees. Okay, and then from the client standpoint, why that's a loss for you is that, okay, if you're getting high fees, what kind of value are you getting in return for those? I mean, are you paying for a Wagyu steak, but you're getting a frozen sirloin delivered? Is that what's happening? Well, that's obviously not a good spot to be in. Maybe you've been pressured into a decision and there was no planning even done. That's a loss from a client standpoint. And so we'll put the quotation win for those kind of advisors, but that's just because they get to fill their quota, but you're in a bad spot because of it. So you want to avoid that column. Now we go over to the other column and we look at, okay, what does it look like for a loss? And I'm going to air quote again, loss for the advisor, but win for the client. This is the column that you want to be in. Well, where do we see that? Well, let's talk about the quote loss from the advisor. Hey, maybe they might be losing some time. Where I've seen this play out is we've sat down with people and we've said, spent an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and just going through a whole entire red flag review of their planning. And it could be that they just got educated to a point of a decision, and the best decision for them, for that client, is to keep doing exactly what they're doing, where moving or shifting, the timing wasn't right. So by the advisor quote losing a little bit of time, the client gets a really good education and gets a really good red flag review of their current situation. Sometimes we see this be a timing thing where clients will come, prospective clients, and they'll have they might be 55, 56, they're younger than 59 and a half, and what they're doing is actually what's best for them. And so it's a timing thing. And it's not until they get after that 59 and a half where potentially they can do an in-service rollover of their 401k, where we can start offering some other products and some other services that would be very beneficial to them. So either way, in that client, hey, the advisor gives up some time to educate. That's what we do. We love to educate. We're an education first company. That's why I love to be a part of Centennial. And the client gets a really good review. Now, the last one is the best one, okay? That's where the win-win, that's the quadrant that you get to create these unrivaled partnerships. Okay, that's where you're gonna get the team support. If you don't have a written out holistic approach. So I'm talking income plan from right now all the way till you're 100 years out. Okay, 100 years old. Just what does that look like? What is your investment risk profile, and how closely matched are you with what the market is producing and where you're at? really honing in on where risk you want to take and where risk you want to avoid. Next thing is a tax plan. You know, we talk a ton of taxes. We can sit down, we can actually do your tax returns. More importantly, I think the value is the proactive tax planning. Every single year, what is your tax opportunities? You don't want to miss those. Then you look at the healthcare. You know, having healthcare, whether it's a marketplace or Medicare, and having a team behind helping with that, okay? And then finally, your estate and your legacy. What are you trying to accomplish, and what's the best path to get there? So when you get to the point in this job where you're coaching your client on life's big events, when you get the call, hey, I want to do this, how do I work out that big trip? Or, hey, you know what, the sad part of this job is like, you know, hey, my spouse of, you know, 40 years just passed away. They said to call you, you know, if that were to happen because we trust you. And, you know, that's where this job is most valuable, and that's where it's a win-win situation, that you have a team behind you that cares about you, that wants to educate you, and that's what we get to do here at Centennial Wealth. So I hope that's valuable. I hope you can find yourself in that win column for you. Have a great day.